based on the principles of the strength-based education article, um, the 5 principles that I will be discussing are relating to coaching and specifically football and quarterbacks, which of course I am and I will want to be coaching. I think obviously that the principles of this can be really are really similar to coaching football. You want to coach of players and the offense into what the players are good at. You're not just going to run a cookie cutter offense that you can stick any player in and try to make it work the same way, which is what a lot of players do. Some coaches recruit to offenses, so if you have an offense, you want to recruit guys that fit in that. And I think a lot of times you don't always choose what a guy's good at, or they get there and then you might not necessarily think that they're what you thought they were, or you want to play to some of their strengths. So the first principle is that you got to measure the student and the educator. And I think that the best way of doing this is just by obviously observing them at practice, but also having meetings and one-on-ones with them and really get a feel for how they're doing in terms of, as the article says, hope, engagement, and well-being on top of what they're good at. So how they learn. It says, the Strength Finder system, which I thought it was really funny because it's kind of like the Myers-Briggs type indicator. You have about 100 questions and 16 different personality types that you might fit into, but it's been proven totally wrong that it's not a people fit multiple categories, and when you take these tests, it's only positive results. You never get negative results, and it's people test into different categories up to 5 weeks later. So I don't really trust these sort of things as much as I do getting to know somebody and really understanding what they're good at and how they learn different things. And you go with them on the board, and that brings us to our second principle, which is personalized learning experience. And you learn what they're good at by taking them through different types of learning processes. So in football, we have a lot of meeting times. Obviously, you get them on the board, you draw up different plays. Maybe that's how they learn. Maybe you show them the film and they get an image of what it's going to look like on the film, and that's the best way that they learn. Maybe they're not good at any of that and they like to walk through and experience it and touch the ball and see guys going different ways, and that's how they learn. But no matter which way they learn, you got to figure out what they're good at and then really try to focus your energy on that. Like if he's good at doing stuff on the board, or maybe he's good at teaching it back to you, and that's how you get him to do it. So you teach him and then he teaches the rest of the players on the offense. It's a million ways to teach it, especially in football where we try to use a lot of different ways, because I don't think people learn one way, they learn a lot of ways. But maybe you might want to focus more of your attention on a certain way that really connects with the athlete. You're going to give feedback. It says give feedback during the process. Well, when we watch film and we watch the practice and the film time is really a great time to give feedback to athletes. You're going to tell them what you want them to do. You're going to tell them how you thought they did at practice, where you think that they are in terms of the season and the progression of your offense, or whatever you want to do. Also, you want to personalize the offense to the player. So if a quarterback's really good runner, maybe you want to run zone read, maybe you want to run option, have some plays where he can run the ball a little bit, scramble. Maybe he's got a quick release. Then you want to run a spread offense. Maybe he's got a long release but a strong arm and he can get the ball. Well, pro style is great. There's a million ways to play football, and really it's something that is really unique about the game of football is you can really customize offenses and have so much control over that as a coach, because every player has to do certain things. And so you can really personalize an offense or a learning style to players in football. Networking with personal supporters. I think that's kind of like you have position meetings, and we teach the quarterbacks one-on-one, but also sometimes you want to meet as an offense and want to watch film together and show the film and really have a time where we can recognize how well certain players are doing in a game, in a practice, a great play that a guy made, how somebody's really good, or we got a good running back, and look at what he can do, and that's a really good time to show the other teammates and people who you're around all the time and who are giving you encouragement that what you are able to do and your strengths, as well as see what their strengths are, so you guys can kind of figure out together what the best solution is to being successful. Excuse me. Engaging with athletes, teachers. So if you have a student, maybe you want to go meet with his teachers and figure out what he's good at and what different ways that you could reach him that you might not think about, or maybe you want to give some feedback to the teacher to tell them what their students are good at, and maybe they might want to hear that. Also, the parents are also another really great resource that sometimes they want to be involved and other times they don't, and I think it's good to have a professional relationship with the parents. Deliberate application, the fourth principle. So you can relate really a lot of sports, like we all know, to life in general. We all have experiences. I've experienced so much as a player that I can relate a lot of stories that have happened to me throughout my career to different plays when I'm teaching guys, or relate it to different sports and how throwing can be like this, like a baseball, like a boxer, like a this, like a that. And you can really relate football to life situations and choosing to do the right things and putting in hard work, like we all know, which is why we're all coaches. Peer learning and self-direction is important. So I think the way I can apply that is by having players kind of take more responsibility of practices and the structure of practice, or holding their own practice and throwing routines where they go out and work with guys and figure out just different ways to accomplish goals within the passing game. Sometimes when guys see what the receivers are good at and they want to do certain plays, then they approach the coach and tell them, hey, we want to do this, we want to try to do that. And that is great. It's a way that I've really learned, and it's something that I would want my own athletes to do. They have 7-on-7 practices outside of season, or however they want to set it up. There's a lot of ways that you can encourage them to do those things. The final principle is intentional development, which is kind of like reaching out to different coaches or different resources that you have to develop players professionally. So, for example, when I was at UCLA, we had a lot of professional athletes coming through all the time, and I had the chance to work with Tom Brady, and he taught me some things with my drop back and some throws where, our coach didn't even know some of the things he was talking about, and the coach is going, oh, that's great, and yeah, we should try to do this, or we should try to do that play. And I think we all have networks, and certainly the coaches that I know, I would definitely want to bring them in and talk to them about certain things, or watch film with the players of like college games or NFL games of certain offenses or players that are really great, and think how we can apply certain plays that we see, or certain tactics or techniques to their game, and try to get them to do things that fit their game, and do things that can maybe elevate them to another level. Those are the 5 ways that I would implement strengths of players and myself into teaching. Thanks, guys.